All right, welcome back, everyone. This is the Super Not Funny Show, and collaboration with Maggie J Reviews. We're doing a recap and speculation and discussion of the very great TV show Upload. It comes to you from Amazon Prime Video, and I have to say, it's a show that a lot of people slept on, in my opinion. A great show that deserves more attention. And so we're going to give it all the attention it deserves. So, Maggie, thanks once again for joining me for one of these discussions. I'm really looking forward to this because I think we both watched the show in the last week. And
Yeah,
oh my God, what a great show, a second time around, even.
I have really super enjoyed watching it again. I think I lost a lot of the details because it's been so long, but I have really enjoyed it this second time around.
Yeah, it's surprising, especially what we're going like. It's a few years old, so I don't want to call it prescient, so to speak. It just the writers seeing the future, the near future, very clearly, and then being like, "Hey, this is gonna suck, y'all," but also it's gonna be hilarious.
I hope the future's this funny because
Oh man.
otherwise we're just gonna be crying.
Yeah, this does not paint a rosy picture, even though it's very colorful. Either way, for those of you who aren't familiar with Upload, the show basically is about, hey, in the near future, they figure out digital afterlives, and it sounds great, right? Except that they're also companies like Amazon or Microsoft or whatever who are looking at monetizing your death as well as your life. It's basically, hey, let's have runaway capitalism that doesn't end when you die. And then we have our main character, Nathan, who, let's just say, he gets sort of pushed into going into what they call an upload, where he is in the digital afterlife, but he's not rich. So it's sort of at the mercy of his girlfriend, who is not necessarily the best person to be in charge of someone's afterlife. He meets a very nice customer service person named Nora, who tries to help him get through his afterlife. And of course, they make a connection. And there's some sinister goings on related to Uploads and his death. It's a bunch of stuff, but at its heart, I would say a lighthearted romantic comedy slash cyber future slash slice of life comedy. Is that fair to call it?
I think that's a really good explanation right there. I like that because it is ultimately, I think, a romance story between Nora and Nathan. But yes, all of the different elements that are going on with the futuristic stuff and all of that combined, yes, it doesn't make it easy to just put it into one genre because it is futuristic. It's got a lot of technology things going on, and there's a little bit of a war going on, but it's ultimately, I think it's just a fun comedy and with romance sprinkled all over it.
And also, it's very much a capitalism sucks, but like it does this thing that annoys me. Like look, I agree with much of the sentiment in this show. It's basically like, hey, you know how the internet exists right now with Facebook and Apple and Amazon and all that, all of the pop-ups, all of the microtransactions, all of that stuff. What if they did that for when you die? And like, if you're lucky enough to have the money to go into a digital afterlife, then they nickel and dime you in your afterlife. So it's not, you can't even just die and be at peace.
Nope.
Now you get to be like subjected to all the worst excesses of capitalism in your death. So I'm like, what kind of heaven is this? It is a ultra rich person's wet dream where they get to have a literal AI to just be their servants forever and ever, and then have
Yeah,
real people to boss around too. It's like, if this weren't a comedy, this would be disgusting. Like, I would hate
it
every person
would.
in this show that was not that
Yeah.
was in the upload.
So we agree that this is a dystopia, right?
Hell yeah. Like, it is one of the worst dystopias I've ever seen, and I've seen many dystopias. Like, if you've ever read or science fiction called The Moon's a Harsh Mistress, and it's considered classic sci-fi, but basically people are living on the moon and they have to pay for air.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's not literally, in this one, it's pay for air, but you have to pay for data. And if you don't have enough data, you can't live. Like,
Yep,
it's
they
horrible.
freeze you until next month.
Absolutely horrible. And I know we're getting ahead about like the themes and everything of this show, but you could very easily not even miss, skip all of that, because Nathan and Nora are just so damn cute.
I
it
know.
is. I was like, I hate how cute you guys are, and I want everything great for you, but like you're distracting me away from how terrible this future you live in is.
Yes, because they are such good characters and also good people, like at their heart. Nathan is he's working on his app, the Beyond app, to avoid people, the poors, I guess you could call them,
The pores.
from from not being able to upload or to continue on and see their family and stuff. They're just dead now. And Nora also, she wants to help out. She wants to make these people's lives, even though they're rich jerks, she wants to make their lives better and give them what they want, because that's just the nice person thing to do, is to do your job and help these people.
Yeah, and she's good. Like she's really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Very sympathetic, empathetic to what they got going on. It's a glorified customer service job with the worst customer, and and let's call it some of the worst damn people in the world. Again, this is my personal
Yes.
bias, so I'll take this as me just saying like how I feel about the world. But I don't think there's such thing as a good billionaire. Well, you have a literal, embodiment of one of the worst possible persons that's ever lived on this planet, in my opinion. One of the Koch brothers, and
Yes.
he's luxuriating in his multi-billionaire afterlife and plotting on getting back to the real world. And I'm like, God, the great thing about the worst people in history is eventually they die. But this is a terrible future where no, they don't die. Not only do they stay alive in this digital afterlife, they keep all of their money. So all of them hoarded,
Mm-hmm.
economic power stays with them. It can still affect the outside world. I've seen some terrible, the future of Terminator is horrible, but at least, there's a release at some point. This is just, the more I think about it, I'm like, this future sucks. It really sucks. But Nora and Nathan are so damn cute together, I can deal with it.
No, Lakeview is absolutely beautiful. It's great. It's gorgeous. You can go there, have a wonderful time. Everything is cool. I have no idea how much it costs, but obviously some people can afford it. And yes, because of this, the afterlife, or the upload afterlife now, it's causing these people with means to go ahead and continue hoarding them because they need that money for the future. They're not allowed to make money once they become an upload, I guess, unless you're David Choke, because it doesn't seem like any of the rules apply to him. He
No.
can do robot downloads. He can go and still be on the board at his company even though he's dead. Like, do you pay for
Yes.
this? Do you just pay for these privileges? Because I mean, Ingrid had a ton of privileges in season 2 there, but Lucy made it seem like she was also paying for all of these different privileges that she was getting while not being an upload. Like, so yes, ultimately money will get you what you want, and that's just so sick.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. This show is taking sides. Clearly, it very clearly shows like Choke and all of the other ultra rich people in there are essentially horrible people. And the other
Yes.
just plain old rich people may not necessarily be horrible, but they are definitely if in a class struggle, they definitely know which class they're in. I mean, you were talking about how much it costs. It's $10,000 a month. That's what Luke was saying about how much it would probably
Mm-hmm.
be. 10,000 a month to live on the good floors or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money by
yeah.
the month.
And you see that in contrast to the way Nora lives. She's living, obviously New York City is one of the most expensive cities, but she's not living
Mm-hmm.
great. She works hard, but she's not living great circumstances. And you also see when Nathan's mom and his niece, I mean, they're not exactly rolling the dough. His mom's barely making rent and whatever out in
Out in
out in
LA.
LA. So this is a future where it's pretty clear that the class divide is significantly increased. That the haves and have-nots there's fewer haves, many more have-nots, and you've essentially gotten people to the point of being a servant class, more or less. And plus, you have these
Yes.
AIs in these places. I love that we haven't even gotten to talk about what's happening in the show. We're just talking about what the world is, and the themes and that the writers of the show are like, no, this sucks, and yet
Yeah.
I have a problem with it. I love the show, by the way, but I have a problem with this show.
What is your problem?
My problem is everything sucks. This technology, is good, but also is probably going to be bad because horrible people have the money to take control of it, monetize it.
Mm-hmm.
Vulture capitalism, all that. I get it. Yeah, I understand that. See everything 100%. And yet we spend a lot of our time in this rich asshole utopia where everything's awesome. And instead of being a full-throated criticism of vulture capitalism and where essentially this runaway capitalism is going to take us as a society, it still does the wrong thing of saying, yeah, but look at all the pretty things and all the luxury and everything like that. If you could just make it to this point, you could enjoy this too. You don't want to get rid of this, because what if you can make it to that point? And it's the big fucking lie of our civilization that you too can be here. So you should make sure, you should prepare the field ahead of time so that when you make it to be a millionaire, and meanwhile you're preparing the beds for the people who are already there and they don't want you there.
Yes, they do not make it easier for you to also get there. There's no sharing. There's no, oh, let me help you. Because even the Beyond and the Freon, the apps that are there for the poors, basically, oh, you can come here and you can build all of this stuff together and then your family can join you as they die, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason for that, and ultimately that's even worse, because I don't know what I was thinking when I was watching it, but I didn't put together that as soon as you signed up for the new Freon program that you would become an upload immediately. I don't know why it took me until this morning to figure that out,
Yeah.
but it made more sense then, because I'm like, no, they're just signing up to get their name on the list so that when they die, they would have a place to go. No, that's not it. They are taking you right now. You are eliminated from power, basically. You can make no more money. You can have no more, you have no more power to vote. You're just basically data being controlled by whoever is actually paying for your data space. And that is absolutely scary, given what we know about what happens on the 2 gig floors. Those people are just little guinea pigs and at the mercy of whoever they come across. They're not necessarily slaves, but what if I give you more data if you come and work for me for so many hours a day? Right. You know what I mean? Like that, so, how close or how far away are they from that? Probably not very far.
Yeah, but it turns into perpetual servitude, perpetual work. You never, because you can't really die unless they turn the power off and get rid of your data. So you can't really die. You're going to be perpetually indebted. It becomes one of those, company towns where you can never get out of debt. And it's all just a big old plot, essentially, to take power away from the masses and to centralize it. I mean, this, like I said, this show, it basically tells you exactly what it thinks politically. And it's just like, yeah, rich assholes are always going to try to diminish the power of the masses by, giving them things to distract them or to make them feel like they don't have to participate, all this other stuff. Meanwhile, Choke and his cronies basically ensure a never-ending supply of cheap labor that they don't have to, they don't have to really treat like real human. Like I said, we haven't even started talking about what's actually happened in the show. This is just show set up. Let's get on track and talk about the show.
Well, basically season 1 is about Nathan. He gets into an accident and his girlfriend convinces him he has to upload right now, otherwise he'll just be dead. But throughout that season, we learn that he might not have actually died, but when he gets uploaded, some of his memories are messed up and they can't be processed. So they're kind of put off to the side for a little bit. And then by the end of that entire season, we get to know Nathan, and everybody thinks he's such a great guy. He's so giving. He's working on this app to give back to the people. It's going to be amazing. He was a good boyfriend. He's a good uncle. He's a good son. There's nothing that anybody can say bad about Nathan until he gets to the point where he can recover his memories, and then we learn he was a sellout, and that's why he wound up getting killed. So it's kind of like that, 1-2 punch, like, oh no, look over here, nope, over here. And it's a little disheartening about that there, but I don't know, I guess Nathan, because he's still such a good guy, we just kind of forgive him and move on. Like, what would we do in that situation? Because he's not from money. He's not from means. He's like a regular guy. He's trying to work his way up, He's trying to make sure that his mom has enough and try to start this business that's going to help the people, which obviously means he's not going to be rolling in the dough until he gets that offer from Ingrid's father. Then ultimately that leads to him being killed. So it's a little wild in that respect, because he was never expecting to be an upload or even thinking about his upload life. And he knows that this place that he goes goes to Lakeview is just like super posh and everything, but he has no money, he has no credits, he's not in charge of his account or anything. So he's very much like kind of in a museum where you can look and you can see, but these things don't belong to you and you can't have any. It is a culture shock for him to have to wind up here, but then also, he is bringing his nice guy, his good attitude into this place that is full of rich assholes like David Choke and like Ingrid's grandmother, what's her name? Mildred. These people have the worst attitudes and outlook on the people in general, but because they have so much money, they don't ever have to really put themselves amongst the people.
Right.
So it is definitely, there's classes inside of Lakeview even. There's one boy, he died when he was 12, and it's been a number of years now, but he still has a 12-year-old's body because his parents can't afford to upgrade him. So, there's people like that where they're just on the cusp of being able to afford it, but then they can't have that much fun while they're in there. Luke is on some sort of a what is that? A veterans? Yeah, he's on some sort of veterans plan where they pay for his room and board, but that's it. Everything else he has to somehow get access to, and he's learned a lot of glitches, a lot of hacks to get around different things in the system. So it is still very much like the real world, as in there's different classes. Some people, they just don't even care. The one guy, he pays to get sick and for sneezes and stuff. Like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, they really push the whole microtransactions ads that you can't even rest in your digital heaven, because why would capitalism ever allow you to have rest? They drive you towards fulfilling your needs that they shouldn't even program into it. That's the thing. It's not a bug. It's a feature that you are hungry, that you want to pee, that you want to take a shower, that you want. Theoretically, heaven should be free of desires or anything like that. It should just be blissful. But what's blissful about constantly having gum or crunch wraps or any other crap like that pushed at you, and basically this is you wanting to have a second life, essentially another life where you have to do the same crap you were doing before. And they even show in the first season, ultimately the goal is to try to go from an upload to a download where you go back to a body.
Yeah,
is functional immortality, right?
Yes, that's how it would work. But I don't understand the download concept, because for whatever reason your body either gave out or became too damaged or whatever. And I know that they're doing like the clones. They'll make a clone of your body, so then that way you can download into that. Right. So ultimately, are they getting away from the upload, the afterlife? Are they moving towards getting away from that completely, where they just upload your essence and then put it right back down into a body, shortly after?
I think that's the goal for the ultra rich who can afford this procedure, so that they never let loose of the reins of power, that they never lose their money. They never
have to die.
Yeah, they never lose control. It's basically are perpetual kings. Something like that happened in the show.
Interesting.
In the show Foundation on Apple TV, where basically this one emperor made a plan to perpetuate himself. It's not him literally, but he perpetuates himself genetically, so that there is always a clone of him sitting on the seat. So he doesn't live forever, but a version of him lives forever at all times.
Yeah, his essence is still carrying on. That's crazy. That's like just so self-centered. Yeah, no, this is definitely worse, because then the people who can't afford to do this, they're still just at the mercy of these people who have reached the pinnacle, and the way that money is going crazy and wild now, some people, they can make $500 million in a day and then buy something like an upload or a download even, and then go back to living, and then it's all cool, and they'll do it all again. And it's just like, well, what about the people who work shift work? And what about the people who are just not smart enough to, crawl out of a, not entry level, but basically entry level work? Like there's all kinds of people out here, and most of them will never see a ton of money like that. But those who do, how you can live forever. It's just like real kick in the teeth.
I mean, the show takes pains to show the self-aggrandizement that the ultra rich, are they are a victim to. I don't even want to call them victim. They luxuriate in their self-aggrandizement, that they're so great, that they're all, because they're rich, somehow that makes them better or superior, or they're smarter or made the better choices or what have you. Somehow it affirms that their right to be on top and to rule and to tell other people what to do. And so places like Lakeview are just as David Choke says, a reward for a life of purpose and everything, because he thinks he's lived a life of purpose. His whole purpose seems to have been to be an awful piece of shit human being. And because he's rich, he can do it, because people, for whatever reason, think rich people, their opinions and what they want means more than what you or I think, or what you or I want, because they're rich and because people are always chasing after money, which kind of puts a whole Lud movement into an interesting position within the show, because it's pretty clear most people think Luds are crazy, and yet these are the same people who are running on this hamster wheel chasing after a dollar, just trying to make it so that the ultra rich can live lives of luxury and everything that they don't necessarily earn, they don't necessarily deserve. I mean, look at Ingrid's family, and actually let's talk about Ingrid, because we've talked we haven't really talked about Nora and Nathan a lot just yet, because they're just the heart of the show. But Ingrid, she's just off to the left of the heart, and I think she's super important to the show, because she is that ultra rich person that you're just like, this person sucks, and then you get to know her and you're just like, but does she suck? Her family sucks. Her family
is the absolute worst. I want to push them all off a bridge.
Yeah, but they just upload to, and be right back in the game. You can't even use pitchforks and torches on these people, because they'll just upload something to themselves.
Yes. No, I figured it out. You wait until they upload, and then you push them into the torrent, and boom, they're all gone forever. That's it. I'll be the torrent terrorist.
The torrent, by the way, that's the data stream. It's a physical manifestation, I guess, of bandwidth. I don't know.
I think
it's something like that. The input output to the real world, and that's if you're an upload and you jump to it, it scrambles your data so that you're irretrievable. So you
just become static.
Yeah, but knowing these ultra rich people, they'd have a backup of themselves. So
oh my god.
But that's some things about this show. I love this show for showing the world, and all its cynicism and whatever. Because by contrast, of course, Nora and Nathan's, their burgeoning romance, and also, Luke and his whole silly bro stuff. That's still very sincere, and even Alicia and her cynicism is actually a front for just trying to deal with a world that's very unkind to people who are just trying.
Yeah, those ones are the most wholesome characters. They're actually real people underneath, not just some money hungry people. They would all like to do better, but they're not going to step on other people or crush other people to make it happen for themselves. They're actual nice people.
Right.
Which doesn't always work out in their favor, but I don't think that they could live with themselves if they weren't like that.
Right. And that's why I said why Ingrid she's so interesting, is that she is born and raised in privilege. She is, her father's an awful, awful human being. Her mother is a terrible person. Just like her brother is an idiot and a privilege.
So stupid.
And she is very much, she's a product of that. And yet she is in love with Nathan. She's truly in love with Nathan, and is doing everything possible to show this man that she will do anything for him. And she is chasing this guy who ultimately isn't going to be for her. Like through much of she was horrible in the whole. I could delete you right now if you don't like what I'm doing, just to kind of
at the funeral. Oh god,
and she was such a just awful, terrible person in that moment. But also later on in the season, she has a sleepover with Zanea, which is Nathan's his niece, who's just like, she's kind of a great palate cleanser for this show, because there's a lot of like crappy adults and everything, but you still get this kid who is relatively to everybody else, poor, but she's enjoying what she can. She sees things clearly. Have a moment.
She's very real. She understands what's happening, even though she's very young. She understands what's going on, and she's very much like, she's very smart. She'll tell you that that's not it. That's not the way, whatever. But she's also so much fun at the same time.
Yeah. And she reminds you that, because Nathan, he's not always on point in this, but she reminds him, oh, no, you're actually a good guy. Just like try to remember that. But there's that moment between her and Ingrid when they have the dinner party for her family, which it's interesting because, family can piss you off and everything like that, but you feel obligated to be around them sometimes, even if you don't necessarily like them. You're just like, I'm going to keep you around. And seeing Ingrid put up with this toxic family environment until they talk shit about Nevaeh, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right. I guess Ingrid's she's okay, because there was that moment. She's like, no, you can talk shit about me, but you are not going to talk about Nevaeh.
Do
like
not.
that.
Yes, no, exactly. And I liked that episode a lot. I think it really showed another side of Ingrid besides her materialistic self and her greedy self and her manipulative self. Like, she really stood up for Nevaeh. You can tell that she actually has a heart underneath all of that. And she wasn't going to put up with that for Nathan's niece like that. Like, that really. And then when they were talking about it, she was like, do you think he's lonely? I would be lonely. That part kind of like, I was like, oh, okay, Ingrid, you're not just an ice queen, So that really showed a whole different side to her. I really did like that episode. But Ingrid is definitely one of those characters. Like, had she not been with Nathan, would she be worse? I think she would. I don't know where she would get a soft side or a side that was considerate to others if Nathan wasn't the kind of person who would set his car to prioritize pedestrians, because she's like, why would you do that? So it's I think he really, being with him and trying to please him and make him be into her, I think she had to really humanize herself a lot. But her genes, they still poke out there and they still are really there. And she's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my shoulder blades sharpened, like little stupid things like that, where he's just like, what kind of a person are you?
Right. She's not a lost cause. There's
not
good.
completely.
There's good. She's kind of like, I don't want to say she's not Darth Vader. That's not quite right. But she definitely grew up on the dark side, and despite that, she's still human enough to care. Like in the second season, when she's grasping so desperately at Nathan, trying to get him to care, trying to quote earn his love. That's when she said that at the beginning of the season. I was like, one, that's not going to happen because that's not quite how that works. But two, she is willing to do anything to just like let this man know, like, I am 100% in on you, to the point of even like taking on a fake baby and trying to figure that out. And it's a journey towards self-love rather than, reaching for that love for this guy, though.
Season 2 really gave her, I think, hopefully, more to think about the way, because she had several therapy sessions and she had to really question herself. She had to answer some big questions, going through the whole baby adoption process. The one therapist is like, well, do you think you're unlovable? And she didn't answer the question, of course. She just started, spewing.
She's like, why do you always say that? I think that I'm unlovable.
Yeah, like not even considering, well, this is a therapist and you're asking for help and they're trying to help you get there. She just doesn't take all that into consideration because she is so selfish. But also, even though it's right, like, yes, she even talks to the AI guy. She's like, do you think I'm lovable? He's like, yeah, I love you. But AI guy is supposed to say that,
Right.
He's supposed to give you what you need. So it's very much, if she was, I don't want to say smarter, but if she was a little bit more able to think outside of her own head, I think that she would be able to pick up on what these other people are putting down and be able to do a little self-examination that, am I the kind of person that Nathan would even fall in love with?
Right.
And I know that she didn't learn her lesson, because when Nora shows up at the last to claim Nathan's body, she's like, oh, you're that girl from hot yoga class, like the very first time she's seen her. And I'm like, so you have learned nothing.
She spent so much time ignoring those who are beneath her that she can't remember Nora's face, who's been prominent throughout, this whole series. She sees her many times, talks to her. She's been
her boyfriend fell in love with
Yeah.
this woman, and she still doesn't register. You're that girl. You're the one. She's got these blinders on that, if you're not rich enough, if you're not on her level, she doesn't even see you. And that part of her has not changed at all. I'm a little apprehensive about what's going to happen in season 3, because now she's lost Nathan. She's realizing she's not that nice or great of a person, but she is so desperate to have a family so that somebody has to love her. She's going to go ahead and make her own baby with Nathan's hair. So, yikes! What is gonna happen?
Yeah, well, and we'll get to the speculation, because they did do a synopsis of it.
Okay.
There's a synopsis of it that talks about something like that.
Oh man, I haven't watched or seen anything or any of the previews. I seen the premiere date, and I see the things on Twitter about it. But I like to my shows that I really like, I don't like to get too much info in to begin with, because then my brain just keeps on going.
Yeah, I think there's one trailer for it. Yeah, like I said, we'll get to that in towards the end of this.
Okay.
But we haven't really talked a ton about Nora and Nathan. Like, there are a bunch of things. Like I said, there's the Ludds, and they're living off the grid and everything in season 2, which was, interesting, because they do a lot of stuff in the second season. But we really haven't talked about Nora. Not really. I keep wanting to call her Nora from Queens because of that one show. But I know that's not even close to the same. She's played by Andy Allo, I believe that's how you say her last name. She's phenomenal. And Robbie Amell's phenomenal as Nathan too. Like, I like the hell out of them.
I like them two together so much. It just really clicks for you when you're watching it. You're like, of course these two are going to be together. Look at them. Definitely their chemistry is really, really super cool. I like it right away. It's awesome.
Nora, we find out that she was going to go to law school, did not go because her mother got into medical debt because of, I guess, some cancer or something like that. Her mother just passed away not too long, maybe within the last year or two of the start of the show. Mm-hmm. She missed going to law school, so now she works at Horizon, one of the digital afterlife places, as an angel, where she basically concierge, guide, servant, whatever, what have you, of the people, in that Lakeview. So, and that's how she goes in there, and she's instrumental in helping Nathan figure out, like, what happened to my memories, what happened to me, how could this have happened to me? I'm young and strong, and I probably shouldn't have been uploaded. Which we didn't say, but uploading kills you.
Yes,
it lasers your head. Which I want to ask a question. Why?
What's that?
Just why? Why does it need to laser your head off?
I think to preserve your memories and make sure that your brain is actually not damaged in that way. But one of the main topics for season 1 is Nathan's messed up memories. When he goes there, she talks to a different upload technician. She asks him, what would cause some memories to be messed up? And he's like, oh, that's always the person who builds the avatar, which is her. So of course she's like, no, not in this case. But if Alicia had gotten Nathan's file, would she have just thrown those memories away, and then the story would have never happened?
Yeah.
Or I also wonder if Nora wasn't because I know she saved those memories and all those files and everything before she even got to know Nathan or whatnot. But would she have really tried so hard to help him recover them if she wasn't kind of interested in him and really, trying to help him fix his goal here? Or would she have just been like, if she wasn't romantically interested, would she have just been like, no, don't worry, those memories are useless, you don't need them, you're you here now, you're fully whole, or whatever, so I wonder, little questions like that. But I know for sure Alicia would just throw the memories away.
Hell yeah. She's like that. She's like, they do not pay me to work on this when I'm not at work, so forget that. And I'm like,
exactly.
I'm 100% with you there. Like, my time at work is at work, and my time at home is at home. Right? Not the two shall not meet. So
yeah. Well, Alicia also manages the falafel waffle or something down at nighttime. Sorry about what's going on during her day job.
Alicia out there hustling. Which, by the way, that is I want to say Zainab Johnson.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Yes.
I
Yes, she's
love
the best
her.
one in the show. I think she's my favorite out of everybody in the show. She is definitely my favorite. She has a comedy special,
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
think,
definitely
on
watch it.
Netflix or something. I don't have Netflix anymore, so I haven't watched
I
it,
think it might
but
be Prime. It might be Prime, but
is it Prime?
yeah, I
Oh, I
think it might
hope
be
it's
Prime.
Prime because then I can watch it.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
it's
she is a very funny woman.
hilarious. It's absolutely every scene she's in is better because she's in it, and and I'm not being trying to be hyperbolic. She's literally the funniest person in every scene she's in, and she got a
Yes,
lot more. She got
yes.
a lot more shine in season 2, which I loved.
Season two.
Her whole
Oh
thing
yes,
her
her
whole
and
thing with
Luke.
Luke is like, if look, yes, Nora and Nathan, they are it. They are the best.
Yeah.
But I am not mad at all seeing Alicia and Luke dance around each other. I could watch
No.
it all. I could watch it all.
Definitely. I like their energy. I hope that they wind up getting together. I'm however it goes, whatever. I would like to see them two together. But I want to get back to talking about Nora cuz
Yes.
Nora's in a very unique position where she works for an upload company. She loves her job. She really loves being able to help these people live out their afterlife. And she's lost her mother. And she's so worried about losing her father. He's got the vape lung. He's, not doing so well. And she's so worried about him leaving because he doesn't want to upload. So she tries so hard throughout the first season to get him to change his mind. She tries to get this loan so that they can, pay his way before he gets there and these different things. And even, recruits Nathan to trying to get him to go ahead and agree to upload because she's so scared of being alone. She doesn't have anybody but him now. So her she's in a really tight spot to where she's like, I don't want to be alone. I want somebody to be here and love me. And my dad doesn't he wants to go and follow the love of his life wherever she went,
Right.
and that's just like such a beautiful concept there, like I don't know where she went, but I'm going to be there together with her when I'm gone. And I understand his position, but for her, I mean, gosh, it's so sad and double sad because she's going to lose her dad and be alone and not have her mom too. So it's just like, as much faith and as much as she likes the system of upload to where you never have to lose your loved ones, that's not a reality for her. So it's, I think maybe she puts a little extra heart in there because these people that she cares for every day, those are about the only people that she can rely on seeing for the rest of her life or the rest of her job at the least. So I appreciate her position. I got a lot of heart for her, and she's got a big old heart. So I really love Nora as a character.
Yeah, she is. I think she feels like this system is messed up, but within the system we can, sort of try to make the best of it. And she does believe in the idea of digital afterlives. I think she sees the ugly side of it, but she's sort of one of these people like, well, I mean, we're just gonna have to make the best of it and try to work within the system. Which that's actually a running theme with Nora throughout the show, which is you can't fight the system itself. It's too big. It's too powerful. So getting within, she's constantly undermining the system or screwing up the way things are supposed to go because she happens to be within there, has access. The second season is much more destructive, of course, because she's sort of collaborating with the Ludds. But even in the first, she's helping out with, helping with cheating on cards, or she's helping Nathan find out about his memories and everything like that, breaking all of these rules. And you're right. Does she do it because she loves Nathan or she's falling in love with him? Would she do it for any other person? And my decision about that is she would do it anyway, because the way she treats all of the other uploads she deals with, especially, I say the kid, I forget the kid's name.
Nevaeh. Oh, Dylan.
No,
Dylan, the boy.
Yeah, Dylan. There's the episode where he gets the upgrade to turn into a teenager, but instead turned into a teenage girl, which was it was an interesting episode with a lot of message, like straight up messaging in it. She's very sympathetic towards him and what he's going on, to the point where she'll sit and spend a lot of quality time with him just to make him feel better about his time. I'm certain that if she knew a way to get him his upgrade for free, she would have figured it out by then. I think that she extends that to everyone. So she's what you would consider, she's like a good cop. She's basic. I mean, I hate to put it
Yeah,
that way. She's basically a good cop.
I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
The system itself has plenty of apathetic cops who are just doing their jobs, and that allows them to sort of do what I consider to be some pretty shit things to these uploads because they are people. I mean, yeah, I've been shitting on them because they're ultra rich, but they're people. But they do sort of crappy things to them because that's the rules, and the rules tell you got to do those things, And
Mm-hmm.
she sort of gets around that because she has a lot more heart for them because they are people. Says to that dude Byron, they are people. No matter what yeah, they're dead, but they are people. We're gonna treat them like people.
Yes, that's a good point because that guy Byron, he had no respect for any of the uploads, and so maybe she just doesn't go on a lot of good dates or something. But she seemed like she was really giving this guy a big old chance there, and I think his attitude towards the upload was what really, really made her close the book on that. So
it makes sense to me that Nathan would fall for her because he didn't really like Ingrid. He was just physically attracted to her, and she's conventionally all the things I suppose a guy like him would want.
An LA guy, yes, she's very much a LA girl, and definitely.
Let's be fair. Allegra Edwards, who plays Ingrid, she's beautiful and she says all the right things. I mean, all that stuff, and yet she's not as a person. She's not attractive. She's not so much more attractive than Nora, who Andy Allo is. She's a good-looking woman as well, but her character also happens to be a person that can be very attractive to anybody, like Nathan is. She's basically Nathan, but also not an asshole.
Yes, her and Nathan very much it's kind of the same character where they just want to take care of others around them. They want to make sure people have what they need, and they don't think that it should cost your entire life's fortune to do this thing. Oh, did you like Mateo, her boyfriend in season 2? I did not like him.
He's one of those nice guys that are actually like. There's plenty of these nice guys that's their front. They're actually misogynist pieces of shit. There's plenty. I run into the guys like that online all the time. So there's a what you see. They do all the hour. Even Byron was sort of like that, but he did that whole alpha male shit. So you could see sort of Mateo was sort of coming at it from the other side, saying all the right things and everything like that, and getting in, and then only revealing at the end, like, nah, you're not that important to me, and what you value is not that important to me, and what I want is ultimately more important.
That's the most important thing ever, So if you're not going to be on page with me or on board with what I'm doing, you're useless to me.
That's like I said. This show showing its politics or its morality straight up. It's not even hinting. It's telling you all these. You have Ingrid, who is literally throwing her life away to be with a man. Then you have Nora, who's risking her. Much of her safety in her life. She's doing the right thing, but for this man, and then she's doing similarly for this other man. So there's a lot of like the women in this show sort of having, or at least the main ones, sort of putting their own, desires to the side, or at least shaping their desires for this guy. And it's not healthy for them. I mean, for Nora, she's choosing to do it because for Nathan, because she feels it's right and she loves him. With Mateo, she's doing what she thinks is expected of her to support this guy, even though he doesn't put her in on the real deal about what he's really getting at and what they really are trying to do. And and he uses her to basically get what he wants, because he says, what I want doesn't matter. What matters is the movement. And so he's prioritized that over anything she might want to do or her moral quandaries about it.
Yes, like him, making her take the worm into the Lakeview and all that stuff. And he says, oh, the movement or whatever. What I want doesn't matter. It's the movement. You're a leader in the movement. You get to tell other people what to do, and they will just do it without question. So how do you think that what you want isn't the movement? You know? So it's that manipulative language that people who think that they're in power use to get the people who they think are under them to go ahead and just go along with it, because you can't stop it.
Right. So there's a lot of that going on. I'm not, like I said, I don't think the whole show is about that, but it is interesting. Like Andy has a few men been in her orbit. And
Mm-hmm.
Nathan, he's not perfect, but he ends up being more like literally at the end of the first season, sacrificing his life, not his whole life, but his ability to actually just live within Lakeview to save her
To
life. He sacrifices himself essentially to do that. Whereas the other ones, the Byron wants her on his terms only, and so does Mateo. Like it's not healthy, and she's better than that, basically.
she is much
And
better
and
than
it's
these
it's
other two.
it's interesting to me that the outwardly so-called supposedly toxic male guy Luke, that's just the surface thing. There's a hell of a lot more going on with that guy than the bro
Yes.
culture stuff that we get from him. And he actually is like, if you don't like Luke, I question I question you, because that is literally just the first few pages of his story. He is more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And once you really hear more about him and see how he interacts with Alicia and all that other stuff, and he recognizes that stuff isn't necessarily good, and he's working
Mm-hmm.
on it. It's good. If there's anything good to be said about the upload thing, is they are making new memories and they can change as people within, so they don't have to stay the same shitty people they were on the outside. They can be better than they
Yeah.
were before. And I wish David Choke and the other ultra rich there would fucking get that message. Like, stop. You have lived your life. You're in heaven. Stop trying to be horrible people, even in heaven. It's
Yeah,
weird.
like those ultra rich there, they have nobody to question them or challenge them. He's like, "Oh, what's the next endangered species on the list? Bring me a penguin to have for lunch." And the AI is just like, "Okay, right away, sir." Like
Right.
nobody's going to question him or make him wonder if this right? Was I supposed to do this? Whatever, whatever. And Mildred thinks what is it? That giving women the right to vote caused a depression. So,
Oh, and
I mean,
it
like
was better when there was racism in comedy. Like, yeah,
Yes, exactly. Oh, it was funnier back then.
yeah,
Yes, exactly. So it's just like she has these quips that she says or whatever that really show you, no, she's a piece of shit too, and they're never going to change. She's been uploaded since the very beginning, and she's over 100 years old technically. So
yeah.
no, this dog ain't going to learn no new tricks because nobody's making them, nobody's forcing them. Because even Ingrid, when she spends time with her grandmother, she's just she doesn't question her or say, well, why would you say that? Why how do you think this other person feels? Nobody's going to say that to them. So they have no reason to change. They can continue paying enough money to not have to think about that.
Right.
So, yeah. So, no, it would be nice, but unless Upload or Horizon is going to start putting morality checks in their programming somehow, or making these people feel a certain type of way about what they've done or how other people treat them, nothing's going to change on that front.
Yeah, no, and why would Horizon or any of the other digital afterlives do that? Because, capitalism doesn't
Mm,
give a damn about morality. All it cares about is making a dollar. And
exactly.
as long as the people with the most money are the least moral, they'll cater to that lack of morality. That's easy. Like, capitalist drive doesn't give a shit about what's good or bad. It just cares about what makes money.
Yep.
But there's one other like downside. Like, to be honest, as a person that loves sci-fi and futurism and other stuff like that, I've always looked forward to the idea of the singularity, where people can upload their brains to computers and basically live forever as the digital realm. I love that idea, but this paints the most realistic picture to me of what that future would look like, which is that there can be a generation of horrible ass people running the world, but eventually they die and other people come on, Eventually,
Mm-hmm.
people with regressive and shitty ideas, they don't live forever. They can influence some people, but other people can influence those people too. But eventually,
Yeah.
a generation goes away, another one takes their place. Hopefully, they're better than they were before. That seems to be the way things work. And yet, if a horrible old generation of a generation of Chokes and Mildreds continue on and can have influence in
Mm-hmm.
the outside world, then that natural order sort of goes away. We continue to bow to the shitty old ideas of these shitty old people, and things just get worse. And it's clear in this world that things are worse than they are now.
Absolutely.
Technology didn't
Yes.
solve problems; it made more problems. Now
They made
technology,
different
yeah,
problems.
technology
Yes.
has been co-opted and wielded by shitty people who are intent on having their will be done. And it's not a good future. Speaking of the future,
Yes.
it's time. Let's talk about what we're looking forward to in season 3. Now, I did see the trailer, and I have seen the synopsis. So I have a bit of a line on some of this that
All
you
right.
don't necessarily. So one thing is we find out that the download process works.
Okay, so Nathan doesn't die immediately, right?
It's basic. I mean, we wouldn't have a 3rd season if no Nathans.
Exactly. That's what I was figuring. I mean,
Nathan's head exploded like Gallagher and a watermelon. Yes, that would. Yes, he lives. But Ingrid has a copy of him in Lakewood.
Yes, because what's her name? Tinsley.
Yes.
Tinsley's like, I can't find him, and Botch is just like, well, reboot him from the last saved copy. Nobody will know. And I'm like, oh, it happens all the time, right, girls?
So, to me, this is what I consider to be the real consequence of uploading your brain, is because if you can upload your brain without searing your noggin off, then you necessarily will have 2 of you. You can have multiple copies of yourself. That's why I said
interesting.
Ultra rich will never be in danger of actually dying. Backups of themselves, elsewhere.
No, exactly. I didn't even think about it that way. If you have an upload copy and you have your clone body, you can afford to build yourself a clone and then download back into, oh my God, now you can have your afterlife and keep working to pay for it in the real life. So yeah. Oh my God. All right. So now it's just a perpetual motion machine.
Yeah. So it's the worst of all worlds, because David Choate can be alive, young and healthy again, and still have his digital afterlife, just in case, have his backup copy, just in case someone kills. So you can't, there's no such thing as revolutions anymore, because you can't just kill the bad guy. You got to kill the bad guy and all his copies elsewhere.
You have to kill all the servers, and then we wind up in Dark Angel world.
Or you got to have like in Fight Club where they just blow up everything and but that's pretty much as far as my speculation is. I think a reckoning is going to have to come with these people who set all of this stuff in motion with Nathan. So I think that but also I'm hoping to see Luke and Alicia figure their shit out.
Oh, yes.
I love watching them dance around each other, but like now that there's a possibility of people leaving the digital afterlife and back into the real world, if that doesn't cause some social upheaval, I understand it's expensive, but this might be an even bigger opportunity, or to kind of foment some chaos or some social unrest, as the poor people, poor in the working class, realize it's even harder for them to achieve immortality, while the Elon Musks of the world are never going to die.
Yeah, you even have a chance now. It's just a regular.
Yeah, it's like this is the ultimate in income inequality, as far, because now we're not even equal in death. It's even to that point. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I agree. I have a question about Alicia though, because she took that promotion right at the end of season 2. She's a VP now, so I guess she's on the same level as Lucy.
Am I gonna have to hate her now?
Yeah. Because you didn't see the last episode. Okay, so in the last episode, Lucy offers Alicia a VP position, says we'll give you another promotion. It comes with, we'll pay you $100,000 a year, and then you get an expense account. You can afford this beautiful apartment, blah, blah, blah. So, like, do you think that is going to change Alicia and how her heart is? Because, she's a hustler. She's been working her tail off for all of these many years, just trying to, what does she say? She has I live in a converted, what is those things? A storage unit? I live in a storage unit and I still need roommates, so now she can afford a nice fancy place by herself. Is that going to change what happens, what she does, how she feels about Upload or Luke or any of these other things here? Because now she is not elite or anything, but she's in a much better place than she has been. So how is that going to change her and her outlook? I mean, I know her heart probably won't change very much, but sometimes people surprise you. So I'm curious to see where she's going to go with this. And I mean, is she just going to knock Lucy right off the building? Because that chick, oh my God, she is such a pill.
Have you ever heard the phrase banality of evil? That's pretty much her in a nutshell. Her horribleness is just, it's so run of the mill, and she's perpetuating terrible things pretty much the same way she would, order more paper for the copier, or decide on lunch. It's because these are nameless, faceless people, or even if she can put a name to them or a face to them, they're just uploads or whatever. So as far as
they're a means to an end of her getting more and more shoes delivered to the office. That's all she does.
I think it's the consequence of middle management. She's a bit above middle management. You can tell she's middle management because she's dealing with the workers. If she's executive, she would deal with the middle manager. So the question is, will Alicia turn out like her, or will she maintain some integrity? And I think it's just going to be a struggle, mainly because the middle management is where you pick your side, so to speak. If you're a middle manager, you used to be a worker. Now you're above these people you used to be. So you're either going to be on their side, or you're going to carry water for the executives. So middle management is to do the dirty work that the executives don't want to do. And so I would say this is Alicia's make or break point. Either she's for the people or she isn't. And there's going to be a lot of entice to sell her soul for the trappings of the people who are above her, who are dangling this carrot and the promise eventually you can be here. And it's a moral trap.
I can exactly see that. So I mean, this season will be interesting for Alicia because she had that big fight with Nora. So maybe she feels like she doesn't even have any friends at work anymore. So yeah, she could go either way in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see.
She very easily started treating Tinsley like a dog. Not that but she did, and I was like, that was real easy. You were barely a supervisor, and you started acting that way. So
exactly. I think Luke is going to go ahead and have to maybe put her in her place and remind her where she came from. If she still gives a care, if she has a heart for him, she's probably savable.
Yeah. Now, I mean, she's not lost, but with Nora and Nathan sort of doing their thing in the real world, she's going to be away if she's not going to be able to keep her friend, on the right side. So kind of up to Luke. But beyond that, man, the sky's the limit. I wonder where they can go with this. How much more interesting, can this conspiracy get?
Because you still have to have the main character still fighting the evil that is what's behind the upload. Who's behind the pixels,
Freon,
Yeah, so, once you shut down Freon, once Nathan deals with Cannerman or Choke, whichever, they're back and forth with those two. So I'm not sure which one is, I'm assuming Choke is the worst one because he's got the more money. Yeah. So, once they deal with those issues, that's kind of the struggle for the people there, so do we know if this is the last season?
It's
the third one?
It's the third season, so I would put money on that being the end of it, just because that's the way the streamers do it.
Yeah, Amazon usually doesn't go much beyond 3 seasons for most things, so yeah, this probably will be it. Oh, I'll tell you what I really want to see. I want to see Ingrid get together with the AI guy.
Oh, we forgot to talk about AI guy, who is all around all the time, weird and all that other stuff. In the second season, they were like, well, what if it's becoming self-aware and actually learning?
I believe totally that he is. When they have the outing, when Nathan and Luke leave and they go out and the AI guy brings them lunch, he gets real close to the TV and he's like, is that the outside? Is that the real world? It's so beautiful. He doesn't say things like that. Right. He contributes to the conversation. He doesn't ask questions like that. So when he gave Ingrid a hug and said, I love you, Tinsley showed him how to do that. So it's like he's picking up a lot here. So yeah, I don't know where he's going to wind up at, but just because of the way that he can absorb all of this abuse and still be a nice, good person or whatnot, I hope good things for him.
I'm hoping he's less Chat GPT and more, more actual artificial intelligence, because
yes, exactly, more data.
But it seems like he was getting somewhere like that, because he was even talking about I wouldn't know what it's like to have to cater to the whims of
yes.
I was like, are you being sarcastic, my dude? What?
I had to watch that line twice just to make sure he was talking about the people he deals with and not little babies,
There's something in there. There's something seemed working. It would be cool if he became, you know, on the side of Nora and all of them, because Lakeview's not terrible, but it's not good. I think on balance, if you said, should I turn it on or turn it off, I'd be like, turn that shit off.
It becomes too much when you think about it, you know, that there is no escape even in death, and then it's not just this wonderful place you can go to and live your, you know, your the rest of your days having your needs met. No, you still have to pay for this. Somebody's got to pay for this. So now your family that's alive has got to pay for them and pay for you if you didn't wind up having a big enough nest egg. And then what do they do when they can't afford you? They just turn you off, you know, like it becomes a whole different morality issue once it becomes the afterlife. It becomes real messy when you think about it too long. So I agree. If you had the choice on or off, go the way Nora's dad's going. I'm going to go with my family wherever they went.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, no, take the choice away. Just like, and so we're not responsible enough as a species.
Yeah.
So, to me, the end result is perpetual digital servitude. And let's just call it slavery.
Especially for the angels there, because how many angels do you need to manage this many people? And the dead don't die anymore, so the number just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. How many angels do you need?
Eventually they're going to turn uploads into the angel.
Oh, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. How close or how far are they from giving those people jobs for existence,
and at that point, the upload just becomes, it's just life, and like,
it's an after grind,
and whoever's in charge of it, they're the ones that are going to be emperors and kings and queens forever.
Yep, because they can afford it. They can afford to come back. They can afford to still make decisions and still keep their votes going and all that stuff. So
it's ridiculous, but I love this show though.
I do. I really enjoyed watching it again.
Conception, well cast. I think it's hilarious. I mean, I'm a really loud laugher, so it'd be annoying if you watch this show with me. I don't care. This show is great. I really enjoyed watching it again. I can't wait till this later on this week to watch season 3. I hope they're probably going to drop it all at once.
They might only drop a couple episodes a week if it's a 10 episode show. I was really surprised season 2 was only 7 episodes. So
that pandemic was the problem.
Oh, was that okay? That makes sense. Honestly, I have a lot of questions, like how the cat, like when Nora was a cat, how did she get into Lakeview?
She doubted.
So anybody can go there. And then like Ingrid, after I thought about it more, I think that she was just paying to be able to be on the server forever in her hug suit.
Right.
Really, if that's the case, that you could just pay for Lakeview access while you're still alive.
Well, you can.
Are more people doing that?
I was gonna say, remember they have the levels of Lakeview where regular people just go in on VR for people to visit, just to come in. So she works there, so she could just, you know, log into the server and show up in a VR with a VR thing from her house.
Also, how did Nathan kill that guy in the elevator at the end of season 1? Because all he had access to was a phone, like a telephone.
In this future, there's a lot more to phones than just, you know, talking and surfing the web. He used it to have a connection so that he could hack into the computer, the computers that control the elevators, and supposed to be some big time hacker or something like that.
Because really, if people could just pay for access to Lakeview while they're still alive, I mean, I'm pretty sure that would become an addiction problem real quick.
Yeah, but it's so expensive that it's like it's so expensive just to go there. Like I'm pretty sure that whenever the family members visit, that's something that's charged to the tenant. Like,
that's what I was thinking. Like when they brought Yang from 2 gig up to what you call it, they said she's going to need a day pass. I'm like, so I'm pretty sure Ingrid's going to have to wind up be paying for that. So yeah, I mean, eventually it all works out though. But yeah, I don't want to know what their monthly bill is for that because feels like a lot.
They're just throwing money around up there apparently. So
yeah, the Cantermans are obviously super rich. So yeah.
Well, I think we fairly well covered this. Again, the show's great. Really looking forward to season 3. Hope more people hop on this train because it's definitely worth your time. The episodes are like 30 minutes long. I mean, you can breeze through this show real quick. I was introduced to some people into this show that I didn't know about before, and now they're definitely on my radar. Particularly Andy Ello and Zainab Johnson. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do with the 3rd season. So, but I think that's, like I said, all of our thoughts for this. But what did you all out there think about these 2 seasons of this show? Are you excited for season 3? And what did you think about everything we talked about? We'd really like to hear from you. So get down to the comments section and leave your thoughts there. You can also hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter, all Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I don't know why you'd want to reach me on TikTok, but you can do that also. But Maggie, where can they reach you to give their thoughts?
Well, I am on YouTube. I'm just Maggie J Reviews, and I think that's my same handle for Twitter. And that's basically all the places where I post up my stuff and run my mouth at. So anywhere else, I don't know how you would find me.
Yeah, I have a bunch of socials, but it's really just Twitter and YouTube, and I guess Threads a bit, and Instagram, just so I can post some stuff. But whatever, reach out to us, talk to us about this, and be prepared because we're going to have reviews of this show when the show releases later in the week. So, all right,
yeah.
Maggie, I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is fun. I love talking about good TV.
Me too.
Appreciate you for just like taking the time. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
We should do it again. I don't know what other show we can watch, but
I'm sure we'll find a show.
So you guys check back to our respective channels. Like I said, Maggie J Reviews, Super Not Funny Show, and we're going to be talking about Upload again in the future. So until then, I have been Mo, your commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by good friend Maggie, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.